from here to Dubai, you walk. Nobody will stop you. So you are a means of transportation by land. Yes, there are some two modern ones. Yes, train. They mentioned it. Wheelbarrow is one. So let's come more sophisticated ones. There are two more sophisticated ones that we should mention. What? That's what I was expecting by air. Drone is the latest means of transporting by air. Drones are flying objects, not manned, but remotely controlled. So drones belongs to the aircraft description. They fly. There's no other we can describe drones. Very good example. That's what I was saying. I was expecting for you to mention the most currently invented is drones. But there was something currently in addition to the jet before the drones. By land, let me give a tidbit. There are two more, three. Pipelines are means of transportation. Conveyor belts and then cables laid under the sea to transport ICT infrastructure. They are transporting ways for enablers work in the technological world. Without these cables, even laid on land into your houses to connect and you buy your this thing and you have your computer working. So all those things are there. But then, if you come to land, there's further development before the means were applied. Road and railway tracks are very specialized units on land already before the other units. So if you don't have road, all the trucks, vehicles you mentioned cannot. That's why when our road becomes tattered and I'm driving on the rough road, I'm complaining because my vehicle will be destroyed. So roads are very important. Rail tracks. That is why we are going to do model in the road. Model is there in this course. The rail is there. The air freight model is there. How specialized we pick the model so that you be well taught and you know all these things at your fingertips. So these are our modes and means of transportation. You know the difference, okay? That's why I brought it in. So we go back. We were trying to explain and you did your bid and your words wanted me to come out with certain curious issues. So we continue. So let's see what the writers say and we are also using. It's working. Okay. So though the heading is types and specifications of the most used containers, but it comes with the explanation is what is a sea container. Box, you see, mostly rely on the words, mostly. You see, mostly made up of steel. That tells you is that it is not always made up of steel. So some of you in the industry, have you seen containers made up of other materials apart from steel? No, if you've seen it before, share with the class which other materials you've seen the sea container made up from. Which other material?
Cast aluminium.
You said?
Cast aluminium.
Cast aluminium, correct. Which other materials? Yes? Baboon, yes. The baboon, yeah, is yeah. Then which other material? There's another popular material. So this statement mostly means widely used, but if you take percentage, the other materials they are at times made up of can form about only 10%. But averagely, and as the madam said, because of standardization, the standard way to construct it should be from steel, ideally. But for certain reasons, we'll see and understand very soon why the other materials too are also used. Okay, so good. So mostly made up of steel and designed to enable goods to be sent from door to door without the contents being handled. This aspect too, we'll discuss it well so that those not from the industry will understand the purpose why the sea container was invented. Made up of steel and conveniently and efficiently and cost effectively transport goods, unlike when we were transporting goods in bulk or as break bulk. how inconvenient it was, the time wasting it was. It is so costly and exposed to damage and loss. Those days, bags of sugar, bags of rice in the hold of the vessel. I'm using some terms you may not understand, but we'll be doing models that you understand the structure of the ship. Those when the vessel will come at the port, there are holes in it. Let me use the layman word. We call it holes. So they pour this thing directly because there were no sea containers. They are doing cargo operations. They've opened them. About 10 of them is open, and mechanically to close and open those things is a hell, because they are heavy steel coverage. Okay, so what about you? Yes. So what about suddenly then we have a downpour, you see all the cargos getting wet, getting destroyed, getting damaged. But one of the greatest advantage of containerization is your goods are very intact and prevented from damage, pilferage and all other reasons you see soon. But then this part, the last part, sent from door to door without contents being handled, that was the primary idea. So if I give my cargo in a certain manner, safely and in a certain condition, and they put it in a sea container from Los Angeles to Tamaport, I should receive it in my home. There's a concept there, door to door, not port to port. The container should not come to Tamaport and it should be stripped open as we do now, and I come from my cargo in a truck to my home. It should have, the container should have brought to the doorsteps of my home. Then we call it to divan it, to unstuff. The popular word at the port is unstuffing. Is that not it? Into my home, my warehouse, if it is a school, if it is a hospital, fine, so be it. But this aspect, is it being totally achieved now? The door-to-door concept, are we optimizing that advantage of the container? Let's come to practical, that what actually happens at the port. Those of you who are there, share your experience with your colleagues. You have to answer this question. The door-to-door concept, is it being achieved? Yes.
Partially, not achieved.
Excellent question. Answer. It's being done partially. It's not total. And what are some of the reasons why this beautiful concept from the inventor of containers have been breached? Yes.
All starts from the scanning units that we have here are not enough to handle the situation.
The scanners are not enough.
Yes.
So you think that balance for the custom officer and other agents to say, open your container, let me see what is inside, especially bring your goods. I want to see the last end. I suspect you have got the contraband goods there, which at times is true. Recently, on 2 occasions in short span, they've arrested arms and ammunition at the Golden Jubilee Terminal. Yes, last week it happened again. Containerized cargo, the most dangerous part, disadvantage of one of containerization is used for illegal trade, illicit, because you can conceal a lot of things in it. Okay, so partially, but that's not the reason that they said because of the inadequate quantity of scanners. No, the scanners at the port, I can tell you on authority, they are enough. They are enough. The first ever scanning company, GSL, I was involved. I was the personal assistant to the managing director because he was a white. So they needed a Ghanaian to assist them do the recruitment properly. So they contracted me, I did the recruitment, everything. But we started with using a mobile scanner. So the permanent one you see at the last gate, the GSL one, I was there, we dug the ground, the foundation, from scratch to the end. So I worked with them for 2-3 years. But everybody wants a greener pasture. Then I had an offer to go to the UN. I left. So I know about scanning everything all over the world. Okay? The adequacy is there. But still, it is a whole global disruption of the concept. It's not only in Ghana. But at least I want us to accept that we see it in Ghana too. See, when you are citing examples, cite your home case first. What happens in your country before you can share other, so that because the other countries will become imaginary. Is that not it? So in Ghana, we have disrupted this concept, nice, beautiful thing, door to door, without being contests being handled. But now the contests are handled haphazardly. Anytime the officer can decide, even those of us doing our work, we have the risk levels. We have 3 ways we have to examine cargo at the port. If the cargo is given the red risk level, meaning that when the custom officer is being instructed, bring all the contents out of the container 100%, examine it. If it is okay, get it back and take the container out. If it is green, meaning the cargo is compliant with all standards, means the custom officer, examination officer, don't open it. You only go for your weigh bill at the terminal and carry your box away. Apart from if it is you are going to face some regulatory agencies, like you have to go for certificate or permits from Ghana Standards Authority because it's certain materials that poses a danger, or it is consumption, things we put in our stomach or we use on the skin, then you go to FDA, food drugs. So you only go to those agencies, you are released from the system, you go. But here is a case, custom officers at NPS, that is where the green, they will still insist, open it, I want to see it. The door-to-door concept is disrupted, arrogating to themselves what to do. Then the middle risk is yellow risk, and the yellow risks are in 3 formats, which the officers are allowed to use. The first one is the scanning. So that scanning we do, the risk level is yellow. Then the other part of the yellow is that we call it sighting. The officers do those in the industry. Just open the door, let me see it, it's allowed. Or partial examination. Instead of 100%, bring, if it is 10,000 cartons, I'll bring 10%. Bring 10 boxes out, let me look at it, then you take your trust. So these are the way they are supposed to behave. But in all this, the door-to-door concept has been. Yes. So we are not achieving it. My question is, why are we not achieving it? And it is allowed.